If artists want to do what I'm doing, go find a mentor.
You're a go-getter. Doing what you do, you have to be that, whatever the word I'm looking for, diligent, whatever the word is.
No, I mean, obsessive,
Obsessive,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we were just saying, like, kind of being your own boss, it feels like a mental illness a little bit. Because your brain doesn't shut off. Like, Peter knows it for years. I mean, I think one of our early dates was us like watching just Lord of the Rings together, and I paused it at one point and I'm like, babe, look, this part of Gandalf, it's like his beard and the light on his face is green, and this one's pink, and he's like, I am dating a crazy person, what are you talking about?
Life gets tough, and I know it's hard to cope with the unknown. For all of us, I know it'd be easy if we were perfect, but we're not. So we go to find our faith, to find our hope. It all begins with looking up. It all begins with you. It's time to elevate.
Welcome back to Time to Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Ann Lucente, and if this is your first time tuning in, I am so happy you're here. This is a space where we celebrate resilience, honor the journey, and trust that divine timing always has our back. And speaking of divine timing, today's guest is a beautiful example of that. Life has a beautiful way of weaving stories together, often in ways we could never even predict or plan. So decades ago, I formed a friendship that would become one of my dearest in my life, and we had met in the hustle of New York City in the 1980s. And even as our paths led us to upstate New York, we stayed close, raising our families in sync without even trying. So first, we each had sons, just a year apart, and then twins for me, followed by twins for her, and life mirrored life. And through that friendship, I was given an unexpected gift, my very special guest today, someone I might never have met otherwise. She's a brilliant artist whose work feels like it captures souls, not just faces. Her portraits are so full of life, you can almost see them breathe. She is one of those blessings that reminds me how deeply life rewards us when we stay open to his journey. She's an award-winning portrait artist and fantasy illustrator whose body of work includes collaborations with Brotherwise Games, Escape Plan Games, General Pencil Company, and D&D Beyond. She's also created works in the worlds of the King Killer Chronicles and the Cosmere. Beyond her studio, she travels across the United States, giving lectures, teaching classes, and offering traditional art demonstrations. Her creative life is a mix of commissions, freelance work, gallery showpieces, and educational content. You can find her work at IX Gallery, Gallery Nucleus, in art magazines, books, and fine art prints. So let's get to it after all that and welcome the incredibly talented portrait artist and fantasy illustrator, and my new friend, Julia Maddalina.
Thank you so much. That was so sweet of you. That was,
oh my gosh,
what an entry.
I'm telling you, I was breathing because I'm like, oh my God, there's so much that I could say about you, and we're going to have you say it all because really, Julia, I am honored, to have you here because
thank you.
I was honored before, but when I started investigating you and researching you, I was like, holy cow, thank you for making time for me because there's a lot happening here.
Please. So. I mean, there are certain people, like you said before, that come into your life and you're just like, anyone that you are associated with is now my friend. Like, I have a couple clients like that where it's like, if they just go, you meet, I'm like, great, we're best friends. Sandra is one of those people. Well, Lillian to you, and we can get
Lillian
into
to
story.
Me.
Yeah.
We'll
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, anyone that my mother-in-law is like, this is a good person, I'm like, that's a good person.
Oh,
so anytime.
I get chills. I love Lillian. So we'll tell people this story because it's going to be like, what are they talking about? Because, I like to dive in, before we dive in, say how we met.
Yeah, of course.
That my intro was the person that I met many, many years ago, I won't say how many, was Lillian, who you call Sandra. Now, I worked with Lillian, and we came up, we're not even going to go into the story why we call each other Lillian, because it's not even as funny as it was then, but it just caught on. And everybody, all our friends we worked with called us Lillian. It's just crazy. So that's why. So now if Julia calls me Lillian during this, it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, no, because that's how I got to know you. And then years later, because Sandra would mention her friends and she'd say, oh, I'm going out with Lillian tonight. I'm like, yeah, good, that's great. And then I would hear her being called Lillian. I'm like, wait a second. And I have this similar thing with a couple of my friends where we just call each other Betty, like whatever the inside joke is, like, but how long that's lasted for you two. And now my husband, who, grew up with your son, like,
Yes.
also has recalled stories of like, yeah, the day that I realized that my mom was Lillian and also Lillian wasn't Anne's real name blew my mind. Yeah.
I know my kids too. So to explain, so those first kids, the son that Lillian had and the son I had a year later, that's your husband. You married the son. You married you married the one that started off the whole clan.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. And I'm so happy. And hi, Peter, if you're listening, because I'm sure you will.
He will in the future. Hi.
He will in the future. I'm so happy. Really, seriously, this is like, I love the whole thing of that divine intervention stuff. Like, just a journey, just like that puts you in certain places that can change the whole thing in your life, right? You can go in a whole new direction. And just to meet you. And I got to meet you in person, which was awesome. Yeah. And that was another like kind of fluky thing. We had picked the day to meet,
Oh, so that was so wonderful. Because I had heard such amazing things about you from Lily and Sandra for ages. And I'm like, I need to meet your friends. Yes. Like, because Peter knows I love hanging out with his friends and I love going out in the town great. And stuff. But like, I grew up hanging out with my mom and her friends and stuff, and I'm like, I want to do the same thing for Sandra, I mean, I'm kind of like her new daughter, so I'm like, I want to, have that with you too. So it was so lovely to get to do that with you too.
It was so wonderful. You're one of those people that you meet and you connect with like immediately. So it was really, it's such a blessing. So
thank
so
you,
happy.
Lillian.
Oh my God, you're welcome. All right, so we're going to get into it now. Let's start with a little bit about you. Just as like, before we get into what all your wonderful creative things that you do, where did you grow up and where are you living now?
Yeah, so I'm growing up, well, I am growing up.
I'm still growing up.
We all are, hey. I grew up in upstate New York, so upstate, not your upstate, but Rochester
the
upstate.
Real upstate.
Yeah.
Right, the real.
Yeah, because when I met Peter, he was like, I'm from upstate. I'm like, no, I'm from upstate.
You're like, yes, you really are upstate. Yes.
Yeah, and we met in Ohio, so lucky us. We, two New Yorkers meeting in a different state. We were just talking about that last night. We were like, of all the places. So we met in art school. And again, one of those serendipitous things where I was kind of recruited from the school at a relatively young age. And back then I was like, I'm a painter, I'm a portrait artist, but then I start to get more and more niche into, well, I want to tell stories with my portraits. So is that technically illustration? So I'll get into that story more later, but end up in Cleveland, meet Peter. Since I'm kind of a freelancer, I can do paintings, illustrations from anywhere. So I just followed Peter. So now we're up in the not Detroit area, Ann Arbor-ish, where he's in the car industry. So that's where you go for the car industry. So I followed him up here.
And that's amazing. And can we say what he does? Because it's not, if it's okay, like it's not just
no,
it's amazing what he does.
The stuff he does is proprietary, but like the job itself, he's a car sculptor for Toyota.
It's amazing to me too.
He's so
you
cool.
Guys are meant for each other. Seriously, you really are.
Well, and it's so funny because we balance each other out artistically so well because he's so, he has to be so rigid lines, measurements, very strict about those things for his art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like loosey-goosey, brushstrokes, whatever. So anytime he's working on a project and I'm like, maybe like you can rein it in a little bit. You don't have to measure it. Maybe twice is okay, not 6 times. And he comes to me and he's like, maybe measuring it like once would be nice. Julia, stop taking your Italian, like just a pinch measurements on everything. So yes. Yeah. So that's what we do for each other. I love it.
I love that. And then the added plus to your Italian, that is the added plus why we hook up too.
Exactly. Oh
my God, I really love it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so great. So starting with your journey, so we're going to touch, there's a lot here. So I wrote myself notes because it's a lot of good stuff. It's not like there's a lot and it's too much. It's like, I would have you here, no joke, for like 3 hours. Do you think I'm kidding? And I thought I better rein it in. And it's just awesome. Seriously, I'm really in awe of you. I'm not just saying
Thank
that.
you.
It's
No,
really
and I mean,
wonderful.
it's so bizarre because it's like, I lived my experience. So I'm like, yeah, that's what I did. Whatever, so I could, if you just asked me what's my story, I would start from like some random point. But I'm so happy that you have questions and you have kind of a pointed like direction for me because I don't know where to go with
Well, I'm sure
myself.
yours is good too. So you just jump in if I miss anything. Now, you have artist parents, correct?
Yeah.
So tell me about that, like growing up there and just like intermingle that with the fact that you started very young.
Yeah, my mom was in graphic design for years. My dad studied as an illustrator, which I didn't learn until I went off to college when I was like, I think I'll go into illustration actually. He's like, oh, that's what I did. I'm like, that would have been nice to know because he's an architect now. So that didn't occur to me at the time. But that was his undergrad, master's was, architecture. But yeah, so again, he's kind of more straight lines and more structure. And my mom went into portrait art as well, and so I had both those sides growing up as well. Then let me think. Like around the age of 12, they kind of recognized that I wasn't getting as much out of like art class in public school as I was just a sponge. I wanted to learn absolutely everything right now all the time. So they got me some private tutors. I started with this wonderful woman named Sarah Gaby. I started with like colored pencil and just some like basic fundamentals with her. She was looking at my work and would give me advice on how to push it further. Then I went to Steve Carpenter and I stuck with him for about 8 years or more. He really took me under his wing and I learned figure study under him. So that's like nude model. And I was 14 at that point. Wow. So luckily my parents, when we met with Steve, because Steve is another person where his life story should be movies, documentaries, but like he is a fascinating individual. He worked under Walt Disney for a while, then said, nope, I'm done, backpacked across Europe for a while, became a star in Monaco, was friends with Princess Grace, then was like, nope, and then went to Rochester to become a Buddhist. Like, is the elevator pitch. But then I meet this man, and again, weird life stories. If you want weird life stories, we meet him, and he was like, okay, so if we were in France, there would be no question, but would you guys be okay with her taking figure modeling? Because she's doing things here that she doesn't know she's doing, and I want to teach her how to do those things on purpose. So they were like, yeah, that'd be great. Like, how do we sign up? So he takes us into the back of his studio, and on his wall, he has like a cork board of like family photos and stuff. And my mom takes a look at it and she's like, wait, is that your wife? What? She looks familiar. And he's like, oh, that's Judy. She works at the public library. And we were like, oh, Julia had story time with her when she was a little girl. So I've known his wife for longer than I've known him. So when I go back home, I go and meet up with them. And, and Peter's met them several times. And it's so funny because Steve and Peter are the same person. Like, Steve is in his 80s now, and Peter, the two of them just chatted up because Steve makes all of this stuff in his backyard. He's making rock fixtures. Peter's in the backyard making rock fixtures. They just hit it off. And I'm like, oh my God, I married my mentor by accident.
That is wild.
But yeah, small world stuff over and over and over. But
it's really wild.
Yeah, so I took oil painting and figure art from him for years. Interspersed in there, he would recommend people to me. Or Rochester's a very interesting artistic like hub because artists from all around the country would circle through there. One of the first ones I took from was Scott Burdick and Susan Lyons. They had a workshop come through, and Scott, I was like 15, and he, I'm in the room with every other adult there, and he's like, Julia, you are sitting right here. And he really took me seriously as I was taking it seriously, because very often people were like, you should go back to middle school, like, what are you doing?
Right.
But he was the first one to kind of show me like this can be a real career path. And then every subsequent artist that I could, Michelle Dunaway, Robert Liberace, David Casson, Jeff Hine, that came through there, I would take every workshop I could. Wow. And then those connections led me to the Portrait Society of America, where I would go nearly every year after I was like 16 years old. And they have like an international portrait competition, workshops for an entire weekend with all of these like international all-star portrait artists. So that was, really my foundation, was those folks. And then that's why, like, getting into college, I was like, what do I need now? Because I have like the traditional, like, I understand how to work the medium, but how do I take it further than that? How do I tell stories? How do I, so that's why illustration, and I have like a minor technically in biomedical illustration, because I was like, I also want to understand what's happening below the skin too. I want to get my anatomy as correct as I can.
I wrote that down, okay, because I saw you had that, and I was like, okay, so tell me just a little bit about that, because I had never heard of that.
Yeah, well, it's the people that do illustrations for doctors' journals and stuff, or, when they're showing you, like, I don't know, what's happening inside your bloodstream, or, hey, this is how, what a healthy weight on a cat looks like. Like, veterinary illustration is the same. I took classes in veterinary illustration because that was interesting.
Wow.
Forensic reconstruction was absolutely my favorite.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I mean, I'm a portrait artist, so I love faces in general, but there was something very, because I also grew up loving mystery novels and stuff like that, like Sherlock Holmes. There was something to, like, you get a skull, and then you have to build out every deposit on the face, every muscle, in order to get a person's likeness. Like, you can figure it out from the skull itself, and
from the inside out. So
from the inside
out.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was so fascinating. And not only just it was fun, but it helped me to understand every other face I did after that.
Wow. So kind of like, I'm making this very simple, but I'm just saying kind of like, so, you've got the bones there, right? But you know what's filling that up, rather than if I'm looking at something, I'm seeing a flat surface. You're not seeing that because you know that it's not.
Yeah.
You're knowing. That is really amazing.
That's really why because I was just, again, like a sponge. I wanted to know everything. Wow. And I mean, if I could take that class every semester, I would have. It was just so much fun.
Oh my God. Now, how did you know about this? Did somebody recommend that and say that's what you should do? Or like your school was really great and just had all these different kind of things to offer? I wouldn't even think of that.
Well, I'm going to be diplomatic.
You don't have to.
Okay. I met Peter, and so I call my school loans my husband tax. So, yeah, I really had a lot of fights with my education there, but that's why I feel like I kind of clawed and scraped. I put together my own education, and I think that's what most people need to do if you have a very specific career path.
I mean, most people don't. Can I just say for a second, I'm going to throw in, while you were talking, I was going to say, what could you possibly get out of college? That's what I was thinking, from doing all this already, from 12 years old, going with these
Well, and a lot of people said that, and when I was younger, the sort of attitude was, you need to go to college because what if you want to teach? Then you have a BFA, and it's a great thought. And I'm again, I have Peter. I'm really glad I did it. But
yes,
and I would not have gone if I didn't get a full scholarship.
Oh, that's great.
There were so many fees. Like, I'm still in
Okay, true. You get a scholarship, but you've still got, yes, I understand that completely.
Every year I worked my butt off, so like my living expenses were nothing. Like, I was an RA for several years.
Wonderful.
I paid my own way in apartments for like, that wasn't it. It was just fees. So I would not, if artists want to do what I'm doing, go find a mentor. And it's still expensive. It's not tens of thousands of dollars expensive, just fees. It's ridiculous.
I agree. You also are very much, you're a go-getter. You're completely, and it's not an easy task. I'm saying it like it's easy for other people, but the majority, it's harder for people to do that. So doing what you do, you have to be that, whatever the word I'm looking for, diligent, whatever
Oh
the word
yeah,
is.
no, I mean obsessive. Like
Obsessive.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we were just saying like kind of being your own boss. It feels like a mental illness a little bit.
It does. It does. You're right. You're right.
I mean,
Yep.
because your brain doesn't shut off. Like Peter knows
Yes.
it for years. I mean, I think one of our like early dates was us like watching just Lord of the Rings together, and I paused it at one point, and I'm like, babe, look, this part of Gandalf, it's like his beard and the light on his face is green, and this one's pink, and he's like, I am dating a crazy person. What are you talking about? Because I'm just always looking at colors and how people's faces are, and I'm observing all of that all the time. And God bless him, now he will look at like a landscape and be like, that's purple over there, right? Like he sees it now. Like his eyes have been trained because I'm just always calling that stuff out. But it's it brings me no end of joy when he says stuff like that. But that's to say it does not turn off ever. So when I was in college, it was like, okay, so what can I be taking in order to be spending my time well? And very often I would get laughed out of departments because I would like hear rumors where it was like, oh, the sculpting department used to have like an off-site thing where you could go and marble sculpt. I'm like, I've always wanted to marble sculpt, so I would, because my morbid like weird Wednesday Addams mind, I'm like, I want to make my own tombstone one day. And they were just like, what are you talking about? This is the sculpture department. We nail bread to a wall and then talk about it for 3 hours. And I'm like,
no. You're like, why
this isn't what I signed up for, you know. But that's like, there was another college I looked at where they kind of did it's not forensic reconstruction, but what they did was they would take like a human, like tiny human skeleton, and they would lay on muscle by muscle. And that's what I also wanted to do. I was like, okay, but can I, if not marble sculpting, can I do that? And again, they were like, no.
And they were like, no.
Yeah, so I took crazy stuff. Like I took ceramics several times in a row. I took glass blowing. I was like, you know, I want to have fun. I want to learn as much as I can, as many things as I can. But, you know, all to the end goal of like, okay, how do I become like a better, more well-rounded artist, portrait artist, anything that had me working in the 3D. It kind of helps your brain to like, when you do it flat, imagining it in the third dimension, you need to be able to do that. At least for what I do. But
that is like so amazing to me. Oh my gosh, that really is amazing. And you know what? You spent this time, because when I was reading things about you, it's true. Like people look at you now, right? Like I'll look and go like, oh my God, she knows, how does she do this? Well, you worked your butt off 15 years at least, right? Is it, how long? 15? I don't, about
15 years. Yeah.
So you did all that. Now, did you start in oil always, or did you start with some other medium?
Very early on, my parents were like, here's some acrylics. You know, when I started with my first mentor, Sari, I was doing acrylics and colored pencils. I always kind of worked in charcoal a little bit. Charcoal pencils kind of always been like underlaying like part of my oil paintings and everything, which kind of led into me working with General Pencil Company. Like and stuff, but that's a different story. But when I was working on acrylics, I would get like really frustrated because I would be doing like commissions for my middle school teachers. They were like, can you paint my sons for me? And I was like getting paid, you know, like $25 a pop. But I was having a blast. But you know, the rumor got out that I did that, and I was doing commissions for all the teachers and stuff. But I would be at home like, as a kid, like crying because this blue isn't doing what I want it to. And it's so funny because then I go to college and people are doing the same thing, and I'm like, oh sweetie, no, like let me help you. You should be working in oils, because oils allowed me to like have that richness to it and wouldn't dry immediately. And there's workarounds for acrylics, which I'm currently learning a little bit about, like longer lasting acrylics, but still I'm like, oils are my baby.
That is so wonderful. Oh my God. So do you also teach that? Like, do you actually, besides, I know you're mentoring, do you teach at all? You
not,
no?
I mean,
you probably don't have time to be doing that right now.
Not especially. Like, it's on a very, very case-by-case basis. Like, sometimes if like, you know, a workshop opportunity opens up, I'll do like one for art shop in California if I'm out there. Like,
right.
I don't know. It's
That
just
makes
kind
sense.
of, if it pops up, I love teaching. It comes very naturally to me. I'm, just private workshops kind of here and there. So if people reach out, like, I'm happy to discuss it.
Right.
But no, I just have a couple, so I say youngins, they're like not that much younger than me, but a couple sessions here and there that not the girls, they're much closer to my age, but no, I love talking to anyone who's like passionate about this stuff and wants to know like what the next step is.
That's really wonderful. That's really wonderful. And I can see how passionate you are about it. It really is. It really is. It's such a great thing. So there was a little, you named a few people that influenced you. Hopefully I'll say his name right. There's a little snippet. I pulled out little snippets from a review from Chris Kalupski.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Because he was my mentor kind of at the same time as Steve. They were a fascinating duo because Steve was very like, loose and let's, push it into the universe and let's like use glazes everywhere and really make that nose super red, and it was very, you felt the portrait, you felt the figure. Chris taught the Munsell system, and the Munsell system grids out everything that you need for that session. It's like, here's your whites, your grays, your like 10 steps of grays. Here's your all your skin tones, and then all of them in descending order of value in those grays to white to black. Mix all of those out before you start painting, and then so doing them at the same time was incredibly polarizing, but in a way I really needed, because they balanced me out entirely, and I feel like that could have make or break a person. like something that different. And Chris was the one who actually pulled me aside when a spot opened up in Scott Burdick's workshop, and he was like, do you want to take this? And I'm like, I don't know, the money's a lot. And he's like, forget the money, do you want that spot? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, good, me and your mom will figure it out, like we're gonna talk about it. So
that's amazing.
Like, that's, yeah, no, I'm getting chills.
Oh my God, me
the
too.
fact that I had all of those mentors when I was a kid, and they all played such a crucial part in my life.
Oh my God. And I'm just going to say a couple of things he said. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I picked out some because the whole thing was amazing. But he said, Julia is by far the most gifted student I have ever seen. And he said that Steve would agree with him. It was in there. I didn't write it here, but I remember he said that.
Where was this?
Oh, I don't know. I was Googling. I'll have to send it to you.
Please. I'm like, wait, when did...
You didn't see this?
I mean, probably ages ago.
A long time ago. You know what? I bet while you were probably still at that, in the high school range, maybe, because it
Probably.
was that. I'll find it and send it to you. But here's snippets from it so you could hear it now. So he said that, and he did say that Steve, what was his last name?
Carpenter.
Steve, he said that he would agree. Julia is more than sharply intelligent. She's also remarkably teachable. Able to separate, this is really key, okay? I'm going to tell you, I get chills listening to this. Able to separate personal feelings from the process of learning so that she can give 100% of her mind to the new concepts and techniques. In my experience, this is an even rarer ability than artistic aptitude. I'm like, that is so true. Do you know
Chris
that if you are so worried about all these other, take everything personally and you don't want to hear anything, this is why you've grown unbelievably, because you're not taking it personally. You're learning.
Well,
and you want to know.
That's the whole thing. For anyone who's trying to get into anything, it's like you have to be able to separate those two things. Like Chris said, that's kind of more important than anything else, because that's how you're going to learn. I mean, that was a huge thing in college, was watching people like go into critique and not like this is their first time getting a critique ever, and you put your heart and soul into this. It's so hard to separate it. It's a muscle you have to work. But where was I going to go with that? There was this. So speaking of the Portrait Society of America, like I started there pretty young, and I was like, my dream is to be in that international show someday. I want to be teaching there. I want to be doing the things that my mentors did, so I can do this for people beneath, like coming up beneath me, so that they can excel. So they when I was about 17 years old, I submitted this one painting I did of this guy. He was a tattoo artist in my town. It was this huge painting. I did him amongst all of his tattooing supplies. I'm still like, that was a lot of work for 17-year-old Julia. She did good work.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
most of my work from back then, I'm like, no, there's always like 1 or 2 paintings a year though that slip by. I'm like, I was on something.
What?
But
How
that
did I
one,
do that?
yeah, that one didn't make it to the international show, but
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
picked to be critiqued by Everett Raymond Kinsler on stage in front of the whole conference.
Oh my
And
goodness.
this man painted the most presidential portraits of any individual artist. So
Wow.
I know I'm not going to remember all of the presidents he painted, but he painted a lot of like actresses too. He was friends with Katharine Hepburn. Like he like,
Oh my gosh.
he led such an extraordinary life. He was an illustrator first. He did comics and stuff, and then he took that into his portrait paintings. Really was able to tell a story with just a single, slice of someone.
Right.
Really profound individual. Taught a bunch of the people who still teach there, and but so my painting was, as a 17-year-old up on stage,
Wow.
obviously no signifier like, this is the children's section, I was just, among everyone else. And so what he said to the whole audience when my image came up, he was like, what I remember, because he said a couple of things. He was like, oh, maybe this edge could be lost, or, this could be done. But clearly they did this from life. And that shook me to my core, because I did not. I did it from a photo. And if anyone out there is a painter and knows like the difference between painting from life and painting from a photograph, that is incredibly hard. Like, when something's either a photo or from life. So I was like, oh my God, I fooled him,
Yeah.
but he was, it was a brief thing because he had a lot of them to get through, maybe like 20 or so that he was kind of flipping through and giving live critiques about. Because you learn so much from just watching somebody else get critiqued too.
Right. True. That's true.
So it all wrapped up, and then I went up. There's a huge crowd around him. I eventually get up there and I'm like, hi, thank you for, critiquing my piece. And he was like, which one was yours? And I'm like, the tattoo artist. And he sat me down and he was like, if I had known it was, I would have been nice, like, lighter. I'm like, I'm glad you didn't know, because I want your honest feedback. That's how I'm going to grow. And he kissed my hand and he was like, don't ever lose that. And I haven't washed the sand. No, I'm kidding. But no, he unfortunately passed away a number of years ago now, but he was a phenomenal individual.
Wow.
But again, it's stuff like that where I'm glad whatever genes I was born with to kind of be able to take that information in. And I'm glad.
Absolutely. That is really valuable.
Yeah.
What's the point of doing something and not doing it the right way, or
or
why
if you
not
know that they're
improve?
lying about it being good, then it's like, won't that haunt you forever? Like,
Right.
yeah.
I'm like, don't just fake it. It's not, you don't have to just be nice. Tell me. I mean, you could tell me nicely, but just
Yeah.
tell me, you
Well,
don't have to yell
yeah,
at
I
me.
mean, and there is like the critique sort of compliment sandwich. Like there's
yes.
there's polite ways. There's the correct way to, you don't be an asshole, but
Right. You don't have to be an asshole, but you can. I mean, you don't even have to sandwich it. You could just tell me right out what I'm doing wrong. I'm good with that. Like, I want to know what I'm doing.
Blunt is totally fine.
That's fine. You're not being mean to me. You're just telling me what I need to do. But a lot of people cannot take it, and it's, I don't get it. I don't get it, because you're really just hurting yourself, honestly.
Exactly.
The last line, though, that I did write that I want to say is, he said this. I didn't say this. Chris said this. He said, she's highly self-motivated, go-getter, in a disarmingly kind, soft-spoken package. I love it.
That is so sweet of him.
I love this guy. I don't even know him.
He is a delight. And gosh, I'm going back home in a couple weeks here, and I'm like, I need to reach out to all these people and make sure
oh my gosh. And you tell them they need to be on my podcast, because I would love to talk to them too.
Yes, of course.
That's really amazing. All right. So you mentioned, I just want to make sure I didn't miss any of the things. You did mention some of the things that you're highlighted in. You already talked about that, and you travel across. So you travel around and you give lectures, classes. The demos of okay, let's talk about the General Pamphlet Company for a minute. 'Cause, it has my heart. They have been around forever, correct?
They have, since 1883.
Okay, because in high school, I love them. I have General pencils. I was looking for the box because I saw that from what, 2013? You have drawn some pictures that are on the
Yeah, this is the most recent one.
Oh my gosh.
Because the
I love
old
this.
version, the same box,
Yeah.
used to have my self-portrait on it from high school. I did that self-portrait when I was in high school.
What?
I
No
went
way.
to the Portrait Society for the first time. I fangirled over David Casson. I was like, oh my god, he's here! I bought your kit, and I drew like it. So I messaged him on Facebook Messenger. I was like, that all I wanted for my 17th birthday was your kit with your tutorial in it, and I did these portraits this weekend using your kit. And he was like, I'm meeting with the CEO of Generals right now, and they say you're great. So do you want to meet? Are you going to the portrait conference? Because if you are, I'd love to. And I passed out, blacked out, you know. Well, and then I go there, and David is cool as a cucumber, lovely man. Still, you know, we're close. He's lovely. But so he was giving a demo at General Pencil booth, because there's always a vendor hall in these conferences. And so I'm watching him, and he was like, you know, someday you might be doing this. And I'm like, no, I could never, you know. But then that became my job eventually, because that year they used my product on the packaging, or my drawing on the packaging. And then they kind of just kept tabs on me until I graduated college. And then they were like, hey, we saw that you kind of went to Europe on a whim, so you're able to travel, you know how to travel, you're a competent human, would you like to travel for us?
Oh my gosh.
And so I, you know, it's kind of like hybrid. Like I'll do, you know, if I'm at the booth, I'll sell pencils, but I demonstrate. I'm able to talk about the materials artist to artist. You know, I don't know all the SKU numbers. I don't know what's in them. I don't know, you know, I can just say like, yeah, if you're going to sit down, you want to draw and you want to draw this way, this is the product I would use. Or I'll be out in front demoing, drawing, or giving workshops. If I'm in a city for a certain length of time for one of these conferences, I'll go and give demos at schools, universities, whatever.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And so you said your self-portrait is on one of the, do you have a picture of that on your website or no? Because I saw you had different pictures.
Somewhere, probably.
I saw like a few pictures. I'm going to go back and look again later because I have to look more. Yeah. I told you I was stalking you. I love it. I was having such a great time. I'm like, I have to do something
I know.
else. I have to work.
For me, this is fascinating because I'm like, what is it? Like, what are you finding out about me? What have I forgotten? Because I clearly have forgotten some stuff.
So I know you've done numerous charities that you've worked with. And I was like I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out which is which, but you're going to fill me in.
Yes.
So World Builders, I'm just going to name them. Jasper's Game Day, the Hispanic Federation, Petco Love, the Pavlov, say that for me. Pavlov, that's hard to say. The Pavlov Foundation and Project Hope. So I want you to tell me about those, but I want you to start though with, if you don't mind, with the Portraits of the Frontline Project.
Yeah, so that one, speaking of self-motivated and a little bit obsessive, when I was, you know, very, very early on in the pandemic, we're all at home. Artists are, I mean, not that we're feeling useless, but, you know, it's like, hey, if you're not a nurse, what are you doing? So I was like, I'm going to do the thing I know how to do, which is paint faces. And, you know, everyone was trying to do their part to show nurses appreciation during that time. And at that point, I had worked with a couple of charities doing art and raising funds and stuff. So I figured there's some way that I can make that work. So, because I may not have much to give. I'm still just freshly out of college artist, you know, but there must be a way that I can raise awareness and create something from this. So I ended up painting 100 because it was a very slow start. I did a call out on Twitter back in the day, and I'm like, hey, I know this sounds weird. Anyone have photos of themselves in PPE and want to be painted? Because I'm trying to start a project. And then after a while, it became untenable, like the amount of requests I got. And I was like, I am cutting it off at 100. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Wow. So yeah, that was a really wild project. And a couple crazy things came out of that. Like just personal experiences, because I'm really glad, like through the help of World Builders, which is a pass-through charity, they kind of, you know, assisted with just like taking products and then passing the funds through to other charities, right? They helped me to create like a poster of all 100. All the funds
beautiful.
from that went to Project Hope. So that was about $2,000 last I knew.
Wow. I mean, you captured so much. I get chills thinking about it, that you captured so much in those portraits, seriously. And so were there any, I can't say were there any that stood out. I'm sure they all did, but was there anything or any others, something else that maybe touched you emotionally even more doing those? Or
yeah, so gosh, I mean, there were so many. Obviously everyone had their own individual stories, and that was a big part of it too, was just sharing everyone's story, right? That's what was important to me. But I mean, gosh, just hearing the prevalence of like, I miss being at home, I miss being able to immediately go home and be around my kids. Instead now it's like this whole hazmat thing where you have to like undress in the garage, go immediately shower, hopefully be around your family at that point. But it was exhausting for all of those individuals out there, in emotional and physical ways that it's really hard to fathom.
Right. And I saw that there was some of the pictures that you did, because remember, there wasn't enough of the PPE, and they were wearing like whatever they could. I forget what was the one that had,
or like, you know, just anything they could. Just that was the other part of it. Again, that tells the story too.
Yeah, it was amazing. It really was. I mean, it was phenomenal, right? I mean, and for you to think of that, to even think of that is phenomenal.
It was like March 20th or something when I sent out that tweet. It was like so early on. I was like, I don't know what else I'm doing. But,
oh my gosh.
And but one of the things that I did, and this never happened, but I did an interview. Project Hope was wonderful. They kind of became my publicist through this, because they wanted to get the word out about the poster and because, you know, I mean, it helps them, it helps the project, you know, it helps funding for PPE. So they wanted to help get the word out there about it. They ended up sending the story to the Kelly Clarkson show.
Really?
And I had to do like a interview for it.
No way.
Yeah, so I had to send in a video and, you know, all this stuff. And again, kind of a weird, and it never happened, but the full circle story there, I don't know if you stumbled across this in your searchings.
I don't know,
but
I'll tell you.
Yeah. PIN on the case. But when I was younger, I used to practice portraits with American Idol contestants.
Oh, no.
So that's how I practiced portraits when I was a kid. I would just watch American Idol with my mom, and I would draw all the contestants, because I'm like, this is a great variety of faces. And
wow.
But there was one in particular, Lauren Elena, in like season 7 or 8 or something. Now I don't remember, but she came in second place eventually. But I kind of had her like pegged since like the auditions, where I was drawing her a bunch. I ended up doing a portrait for her at some point when I was in like 9th grade, and her aunt caught wind of it on Twitter, and she was like, this is really cool. Do you want to come down to her like homecoming for her top 3 American Idol thing and give it to her? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I do. Yeah. So we had to wait until the top 3 were announced live, buy the plane tickets, then head out to Atlanta airport the next morning, rent a car, drive up to Chattanooga, meet her family at the airport. Then we picked Lauren up with her family, went bowling, then went to
oh my gosh.
Then the next day was the parade, and we got to kind of be a part of it. Gosh, I'm so sorry. This story's going to be very rambly, but it was
and I'm thinking I might have seen a picture, but I'm just going to say, was it ginormous? Did you give her ginormous?
It was blown up. It was blown up.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going, because I did see it. Okay,
yeah. It's a weird story. But so then it's like super hot during this parade. We kind of take a detour into a salon. And this salon person in there sees me sketching, and she's like, that's really cool. I know an artist down here too that like does portraits of me, actually. Here, let me give you his card. It's Casey Bow. He ended up being like the person at that point in my life. I was like watching all of his tutorials and stuff. But he studied under Richard Schmid, who taught all of the people I would later study under. Like, again, just
Oh my
really, like,
gosh.
the odds I would stumble into that salon, learn about that name.
Yeah.
He was taught by the same people that would, I later met Richard. Really small world. But yeah, anyways, so then we finished the parade. Then there's like Lauren singing on stage for a while. I'm like standing off stage behind the mayor with the keys to the city. And then I got this portrait and I'm like, what am I doing here? There's 10,000 people out there. No one cares. I'm just here, so yeah. And then there's a clip of me somewhere out there in the internet sphere of like local news in Chattanooga in 2011 or whatever, of me presenting it to her. And all this stuff was like filmed. I was interviewed off stage by People magazine. Again, none of this stuff happened because there were bigger, more important stories, that weekend. But, for a 9th grader to go on this big journey and then have to go back to school on Monday.
What a great story, though. Really, what a great story. So before I move on to like D&D Beyond, did you any other charities you wanted to talk about?
Oh, gosh. I mean, like all of them, but it would take so long.
Right.
I will say real quick, I'll give a shout out to Pavlov, which they are wonderful, lovely people. They work with childhood cancer patients. I do D&D artwork with Todd Stashwick, who he runs D&D games to help fund Pavlov. And I do like the posters and stuff for his D&D games. So all of that goes to fund them. And Petco Love is a charity through Petco that helps to find, lost pets. Look them up seriously if you have a pet. They have a database where you can register your pet and they're really wonderful. I did that with, again, so all this is leading into D&D, right? I'm giving you a good segue.
Right.
This was a D&D game with Anjali Bhamani. She ran a game where all of these voice actors and prevalent people in the D&D and pet communities came together and played a D&D game as their own pets.
Oh my God.
And the whole story, Anjali is a genius. She made the whole story about like lost pets and, helping the pets find their owners again. So it fed into, not only was it a fundraiser for the charity, but it kind of talked about the charity through the story. But I got to do the artwork for it, which was illustrating all of these just incredible human beings, dogs, as their D&D class that they were playing as. And a lot of these, I mean, all of them, I look up to all of these human beings. And so a lot of them, Anjali would send me like, and here's this pet that you're going to do. And I'm like, I already know who Milton is. I watch Milton every day. Are you kidding me? I'm Milton's biggest fan. So,
I love this. Oh my gosh. So then, okay, so if we're going to go into D&D Beyond, I'm going to say full disclosure, don't know anything about
that. That is completely fair. And thank you for telling me, because so often I'm like, oh, D&D. And like, how many years ago? Like 7 years ago, I wouldn't have known anything either. It's become such a deep part of my life, not only like in recreation, but also in my career, that I'm like, TTRPGs, like, stop me, please.
No, and I know of it. Like, I know what it is when you said it, I didn't know Cosme, or I didn't know that. But my son knows all these things. So, he would know, but I don't. So tell me.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right? Is it Malady or Milady?
Malady? Malady of
Minar? Minar? How do you say
Minar. Malady of Minar, yeah.
Okay, not too bad. Okay. And that was...
Yeah, so that is a D&D adventure. So if you, some people are natural born DMs, where they can say, all right, so you are walking through a wood and you hear a rustling off and they can just, get into that space and lead a crew through the theater of their own mind. And sometimes you want maybe an outside story written by someone else that you can add to your own story, or to completely run whatever you want to run for your friends. So that's where you would go to D&D Beyond or Drive Through RPG or any sort of place that sells these like RPG and when I say that, role-playing game
Okay,
stories.
okay.
Yeah.
Those acronyms.
Yes, I know. The worst.
Once you know them, but you know.
Exactly. So, yeah, so they're basically stories that will give you like setting and stats for other characters and maybe a mystery to solve and clues to give to your players and things that will help them kind of form their own theater of the mind, right?
Okay.
So, The Malady of Minar is a story that Anjali Bhimani, same person I did the puppy role with, she, at the same time as she was writing this like super cute little adventure with puppies, and she was also writing this dark, brooding, like mystery with like these goo monsters, and she would text me and she'd be
so
like,
great.
I feel like I'm bipolar right now. But yeah, so she was my art director and the writer on that story. And I feel very fortunate I got to do all the artwork for that adventure. And
now how many are in there? And these are cards, correct?
No, so it's like a PDF basically.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah, it's like if you have like a D&D book, it's like that, but with D&D Beyond, it's online and it integrates straight into like your sort of online dice roller character sheet, stuff like that. So that's why they sell it that way. But yeah, so I did the illustrations for the book, and I want to say there were about 8 different illustrations, including the cover, I believe. It's been a minute. But no, it was so much fun, and I haven't really gotten to play around with like monsters and darker, subject a whole lot in my career, except for I'm doing a couple other TTRPGs right now, with a couple other companies, and I'm doing full books for them, and they're all kind of like pirates and dark 80s core sort of fantasy. So it's a muscle I'm stretching a lot these days, and I'm having a blast. It's really, really fun and nostalgic.
That is so amazing. I did look up Patrick Rothfuss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you did calendars? Are there calendars? Okay, I'm trying to get the
no, you are right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you a very funny Lillian story.
Okay.
In the midst of all this, so Patrick Rothfuss, again, full circle stories, right? So when I was in college looking to do my thesis, I knew I wanted to do some stories that hadn't been illustrated as much as I thought could be. I wasn't going to pick like the Odyssey or something, but I wanted to pick like a good story that could be illustrated in very epic ways. And because I was always fighting like, you're not a fine artist, you're an illustrator, or you're not an illustrator because you're a fine artist. I'm like, God damn it, I'm going to do both. I'm going to paint the biggest paintings you've ever seen in this school. So I did 7 5-foot by 6-foot paintings of his book, The Name of the Wind, because a friend of mine who does Magic the Gathering cards, I knew, Magic the Gathering art is very much in the vein of what I want to be doing in my life. It's traditional art, normally it's traditional art, and it's fantasy, and it requires a high level of skill. And I was like, you do this. What would you suggest that I do for my thesis? And he gave me that book. I started reading it, and I'm like, this is perfect. I'm really connecting with it. So I did all of those paintings that year. I reached out to Pat over Twitch of all places. I'm like, hi, I'm a little college student who's doing my thesis on your book. I'm like, I don't know why he responded to it, but he did. And he was like, awesome. Do you want to Skype tonight? And so
oh my gosh,
I talked to him and I told him everything I was doing, and he was lovely and delightful. And so, I kind of kept him updated on what I was doing. And, we didn't super keep in touch at that point. But then like a year later, I did a painting of one of the characters in his book that I really connected with. And he messaged me after he saw it online. He was like, I'm buying that painting.
Oh my gosh.
And so now that painting's still like up behind him.
Was that the Beautiful and Broken painting?
Yes. Look at you. You've done your research.
I love it, actually. I was looking at it. I was like, I love the name of it. I love... just tell me quickly about that, because you said what it was about, and it was so wonderful.
Oh, thank you. It's from the book, specifically the novella, The Slow Regard of Silent Things, which is, in my opinion, like the most perfect book. It is about this character, Ari, and just 7 days in her life. And it does nothing that a traditional book should do. Like, it's just kind of in her world, in her space. It's just her putting everything to rights in her small corner of the world. And the sort of emotional journey you go on it with her is, I don't know, it just resonates with you on a deeper level. Like, it finds its people. I think you would enjoy it. Like, some people read that book and they don't know anything else about the other novels, and they still love it. But yeah, so that book held a very special place in my heart. It still does. And yeah, so anyways, like, Pat buys that painting, years pass, he streams, I do art for him. I just keep doing projects for him here and there. Then he released a novella a couple of years ago. I think now time is weird post-pandemic. But
I know it is.
Yeah. And we were texting, and he was like, because I was a beta reader on that novella, and I kept like making notes in the novella where I'm like, because this novella is about a fae creature in the mortal world, and fae creatures are kind of, not to say sexy, but just
right.
They're having fun. They're having a good time. And I just kept putting notes in, like, and this is where he would have a sexy fireman pose, and here's another one for the calendar. And he was like, Julia, don't make me do a calendar. And then I would just text him little sketches. And he was like, you're really gonna make me do this calendar. I'm like, I'm just having fun. If you put it in a calendar, I won't, so then we made a calendar.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my
and he's a delight.
Wow.
So I made this thing with him, and it was our first official thing published together. I mean, I've been working with him for years, and it was just so cool to see our names kind of published somewhere together, even if it is the silly calendar. But so Lillian, Sandra, the lovely, incredible, amazing, loving person that she is, she was like, I love this. Can I get this? And I'm like, don't hang it up in the house. Like, you're going to embarrass your son so bad. Like, it's just like the most gratuitous, like, fireman poses of this fake creature. You have no idea. You haven't read the books, and that's fine. But
I love that.
I don't want this in your house. I love you too much. Don't hang it up.
Did she hang it up?
No, I'm like,
okay,
don't do it.
But
you're gonna embarrass your son too much. Don't do it.
That is so great. I love that. I actually listened to a really quick clip of the audiobook, because I'm a big audiobook person. So
and that's Pat that reads that, and I
thought
think,
so.
Yeah,
I
and
thought it might be.
I can't imagine anyone else having read that as well.
Oh my gosh, very cool. So just going to touch on these other things, so I'm not keeping you all day, because I have a couple more things fine. I must ask you.
You're good. I'm having a great time.
Good. I'm so glad. So I'm going to say, oh my God, you went viral with the painting of Jason?
Yes.
Jason?
Yeah,
Jason Kelsey. Okay, tell me the story. That I was like.
Yeah, so, and the thing is, everyone who interviewed me about that or asked me questions about that are distant cousins who were like, yeah, football, I didn't know you were into, and I'm like, I have to be real here with you. I'm sorry, I'm in it for the wrong reason. I grew up with Taylor Swift, and so when she started dating Travis, I started listening to his podcast because he's a great guy. I'm like, I like him, and I honestly, I don't know much about sports, but I'm happy to learn. I watched a Super Bowl with Peter one time. He's not a sports guy either, and I got more into it than he did. Because I'm more competitive than him, so I was like, oh my God. So I was happy to listen to it, and then that clip came up of, at one point, them going, yeah, that belongs in the Louvre. Whoever wants to paint that, I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I do.
So what happened? Tell me what happened. It was at the end of a game, wasn't it? At the end of a game or something? It
was, I think, during a game. I don't know when it was, but yeah, it was the Bills Mafia, which, I mean, we're both from New York. We're familiar with the vibe. It's intense there, and Jason got very much into it, and just had his shirt off. He was having a great time watching his brother do his thing. And yeah, so it was just a great image, and I did that painting in about 3 hours, and I posted it. I'm like, because I can't keep up with TikTok. I'm not a content creator. I have too much going on that I can't share anyways. So I'm like, someday I'll make content again. But at that moment I was like, this is a quick enough thing and it's fun, whether it gets to them or not. I had a good time. Cut to the next week, and it was their thumbnail for their episode.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was just, the main thing was, having grown up in a very not sports household, but a very sports, like my school, obviously funding always went first from the arts into the sports. Like, that's not a unique experience, but and we had a very, very art all inclusive. Like, they really supported the arts.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's really
and
great.
I mean, I don't know what the state is like now, but but they did love their sports, so it was always a fear, right? Anyways, but they were so kind, and they talked about it in such a way that I was like, oh my god, I got the sports boys to talk about art. And they were like using like words like impressionistic and like, look at that.
Yeah,
like
yes,
and,
I watched it. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, they were just so kind. And again, I was like, give me criticism, that's fine, but they were so sweet.
Oh, they said she nailed it. I was like, oh my god. First of all, the call was like, he just said, what, I want this in a portrait. What did he say that made you go, let me do that? It was
like, just the photo itself kind of, I don't know if you've ever heard of the term like accidental renaissance, where like something just, if you look it up on Pinterest or something, there are these crazy images from like, historical moments, just, I don't know, in Congress or whatever, like just people kind of shouting and standing up, but it makes like one of those perfect ratios sort of. So I think it was something like that. They were saying this photo just belongs in the Louvre. Like, it's phenomenal.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so that means it needs to be painted. So I painted it.
The fact that you thought that, okay, I would have just heard him say it and not thought about whatever. And you just took that and ran.
I mean, if it was something having to do with voice acting or anything, I'm sure you would have, but for me, that was like the Manchurian Candidate, like, hey, you get to go paint now, But yeah, anyway, and I always feel so bad because I've been able to talk to people that, like, they, not that they don't care that I do art, but now that I touch base with their sports, they're like, oh my god, Julia, what? It just blew up in such a way. I'm like, okay, all right, fine.
Yes.
But
it's
again,
it's about dimension, right?
But it's about connection, I mean,
yes.
that's what art is. It's just bridging, connections between people. And
that's true.
And that sports connection really hit it off with a lot of people.
Wow, that's really amazing. I can't even believe it. All right, so I'm going to switch gears just a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to ask you, because this is so important in so many careers, especially the creatives, okay? All across the board. I'm going to switch to marketing and networking, because you could be the most talented person in the entire world and no one will know it. So tell me, like, how do you do it? What do you do? Like,
great question. I don't know. Well, and that's the thing is, me and Peter talk about this a lot, is I'm often like, I'm very fortunate. I feel very lucky to be connected with the people that I am connected with. But also I am eternally a sponge and hungry and after what I'm after. And I will set an intention in my mind and be like, I want this to happen. And I will just start doing things to make it happen. So and usually it's worked out, and I don't, again, I don't really have a formula for marketing or my IP. Like, I don't really, I heard a friend of mine once say that your social media is kind of like your archetype for what you are on the hero's journey, right? So are you the mentor? Are you leading people on a journey? Are you their friend? Are you, so stuff like that. I feel more like their buddy. Like, I'm just like, I'm posting when I can. Like, I'm not here to spam anyone. I'm not here to, over promote my shop or what. Like, I'm here doing my best. I'm doing my illustrations. I love to share when I can. But really, the entire idea of forming a brand and kind of putting something in front of myself like a shield is overwhelming to me. Like, I just want to be me completely and not feel like I'm putting something between me and the audience, or me and the art, or the art and the audience. And that's just me. Like, I know a lot of people who, because I watch people who do incredible stuff, very funny, very genuine, very cool. Like, and I just go, I wish I had whatever that is. But every time I go to like hold up my phone and be like, hi, I'm doing a studio tour, I can't. Like, I will become a black hole and fold into myself.
Right.
And I can't do it.
You don't have to. That's the whole thing. You
exactly,
don't have to.
but that stuff gets the views.
But who? I don't want to say who cares about the views.
Well, right,
but in the long run, right, at the end of the day, if you're doing what you love and you're successful at what you're doing, and if what you want to do is go further and, whatever, as a career, and you're doing that, does it really matter?
Well, and exactly, and that's what I had to come to, because I felt very stressed about that. I was like, why can't I do the thing that and then you have to say social media is very fickle. It's going to come and go. You don't need to fit into this mold.
No.
I'm here to make art and hopefully make people happy with the art, and share what I know, and that's it. And so everything else is secondary.
I think, and you do. And I think, honestly, for you, I would say just do a lot more podcasts and just do that. You don't have to do anything else, because we need to know you're out there. I need to know. I'm going to tell everybody about you, because you've got great things. Just to backtrack a second, I love the frogs. I'm going to say I'm a frog lover.
Dude, me and Peter, like every afternoon where it's warm and slightly moist, we're going to go out and try to find frogs.
I love it. So, is there a typical day in the life of Julia?
Not especially. I mean, like every day I am here, it's the art cave. It's like Peter will sometimes coax me out and be like, come on, we have to go grocery shopping. I'm not a social butterfly. I'm here in Michigan on, like if I lived like right around my immediate family, I'm sure I would be far more busy. But, being out here, I'm like just here in the studio every day working on something. So whether it's here at the computer and I'm writing things up, more bureaucratic work for the week, or updating my website, or sending out a newsletter, or I'm shifting gears and I'm in the studio across the hall and doing paintings, or downstairs just on my iPad on the couch, doing some illustration work. I kind of this is me shaking it up, right? Because I'm like, I will go crazy if I'm only sitting in one place. So I'm just, the whole house is my office, which I know some people have to like super go like, this is for work and this is for life. And I tried that for a little while, but I'm like, my brain is always on work mode anyways. It doesn't, if I feel like working, I'm just gonna work wherever I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I move around. I go outside, go on the deck, go wherever.
That's exactly it.
It depends on in here for what I'm doing in here, but then I'll go outside, I'll do it. Yeah. So I do have a signature question that I like to ask, and you answered so much. So feel free if you're like, I've already told you this, but
nope,
I'm going to ask
I'm ready.
Anyway. Okay. So can you share a moment in your life or career when you had to show resilience, experience divine intervention, or had to pivot in a big way?
Oof. I think like the one that comes to mind, and this may not be exactly it, but at the very least, like maybe a mental shift, right? So I talked before about like, the Portrait Society of America is kind of where I grew up going. And I'm like, yeah, these are what I want to do is just faces and tell people's story through portraiture, and that like, but I was pretty much on that mental track where I'm like, I want to tell stories, but only this way. Not only that way, but that's where my heart was at the time. And that was many, many, many years. And I think until basically 2020, where I was online, and this is again where I go, I am lucky, and very fortunate, but also part of it is I'm a little crazy, and I just set everything up kind of ready to be found a little bit. Like I want to have every social media. I want to be findable. I want to, connect with people. And I do try to put in the work to like post things, and especially back then when I didn't have a bunch of projects that I couldn't post about, I would just try to keep making in order to generate content. Right. So I ended up just kind of retweeting a project called Mystic Libations that was posted by Travis McElroy. He was like, "Hey, look at this project. It's cool. It's cocktails and D&D." And I'm like, "That's neat. I'll also repost that." And one of the co-founders of that, Brandon, he saw that I retweeted it, found me, followed me, DM'd me, and said, "Would you like to work on this book?"
Oh my gosh.
So I was
Wow.
like, wild. Yeah, because I
Wow.
was looking him up, the way you do when you get a random DM from a guy saying, "Do you want to work on this?" I'm like, "Who are you?" He,
Right, right.
used to work at Disney as an Imagineer. He works with Universal
Oh,
as also,
wow.
like
Oh my
he's been around the
gosh.
block, very creative individual. And I'm like,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
absolutely. So I get brought onto this project to do the portraits in the front of this cocktail book
Wow.
of the two adventurers who own this bar, right?
Oh my gosh.
And I did a couple other sketches throughout it, but who I would meet with every week were the two authors behind all this, who was Brandon and Todd Stashwick. And Todd, at some point, like one of those weeks when we were going over these portraits and the details, he was like, "How did you two meet?" And me and Brandon were like, "We don't really know." Like, kind of random happenstance online, but ever since then, Todd is also one of those people like Lillian, right? Where
Yes.
you're like, you are good people. Anyone who you're around is also good people. Like, I
Right.
go to conventions with him, and he is just a beacon of sunshine and fun and such a wonderful human being. And I've worked on several other. I'm working on another book with him now.
Oh
I'm
my gosh.
going He's the one that does the Pavlov games, so I
Oh,
always do the posters for that for him.
wow.
But I mean, we've worked on stuff consistently ever since that sort of random happenstance, and that was really my first breakout into fantasy art. Where
Wow.
because when I was a kid, I used to draw dragons all the time.
Mm.
Loved the Spiderwick Chronicles. I loved fairies. I would draw that stuff, but at some point something in my mind shifted. Not that like that was kiddish stuff, but I just became obsessed with the portrait. Um,
Mm.
I still love those things, but I just,
Right.
again, it never really clicked with me that that could become part of all of this. So it
Right.
was kind of like finding the sort of perfect golden medium of all of the parts of me, really integrating
Right.
like the things I loved as a kid, the things that I enjoy now, the people I enjoy now, and, again, combining recreation of, Dungeons and Dragons, playing with your friends, and your career, because there are several times now where I'll play games with friends and it's such a joy to be the artist at the table, because then you can be like, "I know what that looks like," and draw it out, and everyone's like, "Oh my god," and
Oh,
it's
like how do you
just,
do that?
well, and it's a joy. Again, like I go to GaryCon, which is a convention celebrating Gary Gygax, who started
Oh,
Dungeons and Dragons. It's up in Wisconsin, and I've
oh
gone
my
2 years in
gosh.
a row now, and it's so much fun. Just because I don't play at like tables with people, I play virtually with people. So
Right.
being at a table and sketching and then passing sketches are like there's nothing like it. So again, making art also part of my community, also part of
Mm-hmm.
my career. I think that sort of divine, if you want to call it like divine intervention, or that
Yeah.
moment, or kind of making me realize I can integrate all parts of myself into what I
Right.
want to do.
Right.
And also, like we talked about before, right? Having something that you find fun
Mm-hmm.
versus something that you can do forever. And that's going to be
Right.
different for each individual person. And
Right.
it's a lot of setting boundaries. It's, even though it's fun and it's
Mm-hmm.
everything I've always wanted, it's like, okay, I'm getting
Yes.
a little worked up now. I gotta go sit downstairs and play a video game. I gotta go take a
Right.
walk. Like, and I'm sure you experience
Yes.
that too. But
Yes. Yes.
it's finding the balance is always so difficult, and especially during that time, right? The pandemic. But uh,
Yes.
no, I just feel incredibly fortunate that that moment, right,
Yeah.
happened,
Yeah.
and ever since then, I started working with all these phenomenal
Wow.
individuals.
And that you're so open to it, and that's the key right there, because you could have so easily been like, I don't know, that's not part. But you opened a door, another door to yourself, and learning about yourself is so amazing, isn't it?
It
Like I'm still
really
learning
is.
about myself. Like, oh,
Always.
That's another part of me I didn't know about there. I know it's really cool.
Yeah.
Because you're so open to it. It's really important. I love that. I love that. Oh my God, it's so amazing. So, before first of all, did I not ask you something that you might want to mention?
You covered everything. Like I was like, you're my personal PI. No,
Yes.
It's so funny because I don't think I've ever done an interview where I so clearly got to like say all of like the weird roundabouts that my life has gone in, where it's like this person knew that person that led me to this person who kind of also got me here too. Like, so I don't know.
Happy.
It's a magical experience with you and
so
Lillian.
Happy. Oh, with you too. I know, and Lillian. It's so hard to know.
I know.
But before we close, then, with your favorite quote or mantra, do you mind picking an angel card? Are you okay with
sure.
that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was supposed to do it at the beginning, but I guess not that I was supposed to. It's my own thing, right?
No, I love it. Yeah. Do it whenever you want.
I got so excited. I forgot. Yeah. So it's only one word, I think, because somebody actually got 2 words one time.
Ooh, fancy.
So I don't know how that happened. But I'm going to shuffle and probably hopefully not drop it. So I'll hold it. Can you see me? Oh, you can see me there. I'm just going to shuffle. And then when you say stop, I'll just kind of grab a card. I don't know. Just tell me when to stop.
Okay.
All right.
Stop.
Okay. Let's see what this is. Expectancy. What does that mean to you? Anything?
Expectancy.
Expectancy.
I don't know. That's interesting. That's an interesting word because not to be too cliche about it, but, you know, very much this whole career is just expect the unexpected. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next. A couple months ago, because I've been obsessed with the show Arcane for ages. Yeah. It's on Netflix. It's incredible. It's based off of League of Legends of all things. I don't play that game, but I was like, just the artistry of this show was phenomenal. And it's not like I publicly said that a whole bunch. I maybe did a couple arts of it here and there. But, you know, it's not in my bio line or anything. I got an email randomly from that Gallery Nucleus. I hadn't worked with them before, and they were like, we want you to be a part of this exhibition with the creators of Arcane. Like they were putting together a tribute show for Arcane with the creators of the show. And I'm like, how did you find me? And how did you know this is one of my special interests? Yes. You know, so like that happened. That's I was insane. Like struggling to get to sleep, and it was 11 p.m. and I'm on my phone. I know I shouldn't be, but I am. And I get that email, and I'm like, well, now thing. I can't sleep.
Now I can't sleep, and I can't write back now because it's so late.
Oh,
right?
no, like, I absolutely did like a freak. It was like 30 seconds after they sent it, and I'm like, yes, what do I do? And then within 12 hours, I had a sketch for them, and I'm like, have this approved by Riot, and I'm ready to paint. I was like,
oh my God, that is the right move, though. I should not have said, wait. I think that's actually...
Oh, no, I have done that several times where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be too, you know.
Is it too late? Well, that's all right.
Yeah, but I'm like, they just sent it to me, so I'll send it.
Right.
You know.
Okay, yeah, if they just sent it, it's all fair game then,
But
I think.
now I'm working with them on a number of things. Actually, a show that has been announced by them, and I haven't publicly talked about it a whole lot, but I am listed as one of their artists on the website under this, so I think I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm doing a Marvel show with them.
Wow, really? Oh my God!
Painted a Marvel character, undisclosed right now, but I think you'll enjoy it, Lillian. I think I don't know if you're into Marvel, but you would like this one.
Yes, I do like it. That is so great.
Expect the unexpected is what because I'm just like, who could have seen that coming? I surely didn't.
Yes, I like that word. Yes, and that fits perfectly into that. I love that. Yeah. So would you finish us out with a quote?
Yeah.
Or whatever you've got.
So what I'll say is another really important figure in my life. His name is Mr. Hargrave, Kyle R. Hargrave. He was my sociology professor and social studies professor in high school. One of the most amazing humans ever. His room should have been preserved like a museum. He retired last year, and it forever breaks my heart that room is just a normal room again. He had every ceiling tile painted. He had bookshelves everywhere with gifts from 30 years worth of students. He had photos of his students everywhere. Every desk was drawn on, carved into. He fought like hell to keep all of his old chalkboards when the smart boards came out. coffee stains probably everywhere, books. It was the room itself was almost too much to look at, but it was posters everywhere of bands and movies that meant a lot to him, and quotes. Every day he would start off his class playing music, usually Led Zeppelin,
I love it.
He always, every single day, had a Led Zeppelin t-shirt under his work clothes. He had a button every day. He had bracelets, nail polish, coolest man ever. I did a painting of him
oh my gosh,
in front of his chalkboard, with his quotes and stuff. And
how great is that?
He really phenomenal human being. I mean, if there were kids that were struggling or socially, he just welcomed everyone in and would take them in during their free periods. Everyone was welcome. Just he would fist bump everyone on the way out every day. You don't know when the last time is you'll see someone. Was always kind of his mantra.
Right. So true.
So the mantra was EPP, which was enjoy the precious present, was his thing. He had that tattooed on himself. Spectacular human being. If anyone else went to Fairport High School, wow. Hargrave, or just in the general area, he coached for another school district, and anyone's life who he touched, it's very special man.
Oh, that sounds so wonderful.
But
really.
Yeah, EPP was always
I love that.
the abbreviation that everyone is stuck with after,
that's a great
interacting with him.
I like that acronym.
Yes.
That is wonderful. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing that. I really love this. This was so wonderful. I want to give a quick shout out to Victoria Purdy, who's my daughter, who created the theme song for Time to Elevate. Created and sang. And I want to thank you. Oh, first tell us, of course, where can we find you? People are going to want to look you
up. So I try to keep it easy. I'm J Maddalina everywhere. So if you see how to spell my last name, that it's just first initial last name everywhere. Let me see. My website would be jmaddalina.myportfolio.com, and my shop with prints and stuff, I try to keep it as updated as I can. That's just jmaddalina.com.
Very cool. Yeah. I love it. And believe me, they will find you, because I Googled you and I got lots of good stuff. I love it.
So glad.
Oh my God, Julia, this was so amazing. I can't wait to tell Lillian all about it.
Oh my God, I know. I can't wait to send her the link. I'm going to be like, look at us. We're having such a great time together.
I know. We'll say, Lillian, you did this.
Yes. Again,
oh my gosh.
Speaking of special people.
I know, I'm telling you. So I will talk to you soon, and keep an eye on you for all the good stuff.
Right,
and I'll be getting some frogs from you.
Oh, yes.
Love you lots. This was so great.
Love you too. This was wonderful.
Bye.
Life gets tough, and I know it's hard to cope with the unknown. For all of us, I know it'd be easy if we were perfect, but we're not. So we go to find our fate, to find our hope. It all begins with looking up. It all begins with you. It's time to